Hello kiddos and welcome to preschool distance learning. I have my little board here and I'm going to try to put a quote every day. And today's quote is, "Today is a new day." Something we have to keep in mind that every day is different. Whether it's good, bad, or okay, you have to get the most of it, right? So as you can see here, pointing with my little pointer here, I have 4 words, and these 4 words are mentioned in this lovely book I'm going to be reading today. It's called Nature Spy. So the first word I'm going to show to you here is curious. What do you think curious means? Another word for curious is like I wonder. It's like, I wonder why the wind is blowing right now, or I wonder why it stopped raining. So you're curious about things. You're wondering about why things happen, how they happen, when, why, all those lovely words. Our next word is discover. So it kind of goes there with curious, like you first wonder about something, or you're discovering something new while you're thinking about that. So discovering, like, okay, so you were wondering about, why the rain stopped. So now you're going to try to discover as to why that happened. The next word here is investigate. Now the word investigate is not mentioned here. However, investigate is another good way for the word spy, because a spy goes around and finds new things out. So that's what you do when you investigate, or when you're an investigator. You go out to figure new things. So first you're curious, you wonder why it happened, then you're discovering why something happened. You're investigating why it all came to be. And then the last word is pattern. Now I know it seems like it doesn't really go with any of these, but if you think about it, especially involving with what we're going to be talking about the next few weeks, you find patterns in everything. Even when you're investigating something, you find a pattern. It's like, well, something follows this thing, and then it follows the next one and the next one. So pattern, once you think about patterns, we talked about patterns at school. Patterning numbers, colors, letters. Sometimes it could be, like with a color, it could be blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. Or going back to the rain thing, it's just like it rains and it doesn't rain. And it rains and it doesn't rain. So that's a pattern also. So we're going to go ahead and start with a book. Our book is called Nature Spy, or Nature Investigator. It's written by Shelley Rotner and Ken Kreisler. So that means that the words in here were by these 2 people. And photographs by Shelley Rotner. So all the lovely pictures that you're seeing here were taken by that one person. Now remember, before we open the book, we talk about the different parts of the book. So here we have the front of the book. I'm going to turn it over. Remember, this is the back of the book. Sometimes you can tell because you usually don't have this wonderful picture here in the back, but usually you can tell when this little white box here with all the lines and the numbers are at. This is called the ISBN number and the barcode. So this is when it's at the store or the library. They can check it out with their scanner. And they can see, okay, so this is the title of the book, this is how much it cost, or this is where you can find it in the store. And last but not least, we have the spine. Sometimes it's put together by a stapler, or by glue, or a combination of the 2. And the spine is here to keep it all together. Because see, when I do this, don't handle the books like this at home, please. It doesn't fall off. The pages stay together. So the spine is there to keep the book together, the pages together. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. So I'm going to read the book first, the pages, and then I'll bring the book up close so that you can see the image better, all right? I'll be asking some questions while I read it, and then other questions I'll put on the email so moms and dads and other of your lovely family members can ask you about. Okay, so here we go. I like to go outside to look around and discover things. Remember our word? Discover things. Figure things out. So there we have a little girl. She's going out onto her porch, getting ready to look around and discover something new. Now with everything going around right now, Some of you might not have been able to go outside yet, and some of you can. You might have a porch out front, or you might have a neighborhood where you can walk around, or maybe there's a hiking trail. So something you have to check with your family to see if that's a possibility. So maybe you can discover some things yourself. All right, now to the next page. So going outside to discover new things. To take a really close look. Even closer and closer. So as you can see here, first the image is far away. Then they get a little bit closer so you don't see the stem anymore. Now you're able to see a little bit more there of the petals and what's inside. Can you remember what the inside of that is? What is that called? Let's see. And then they get even closer inspection in order to investigate what's happening there. And remember we talked about patterns too. So here we have a pattern. See, we have, I'm going to call this little thing a triangle because I don't know the actual name. So, or let's say light brown and dark brown. Light brown, dark brown. Light triangle brown. Dark brown line, sorry. And then light brown triangle, and then a dark brown line. And then it keeps going. There's the pattern. And then here we see there's some seeds there. That's where the bees like to go into to get their pollen and their food so that they can eat. So if you're curious about the outside and you want to discover new things, maybe you'll be able to investigate some flowers, be able to see the outside, and then get a little closer, and then even closer to really investigate it. Now, the girl's not picking out the flower. She's leaving it where it is because she's just investigating right now. Just trying to figure out what it looks like, trying to discover new things. Not going to be digging in there quite yet. And then maybe you can find some patterns in there too. Now she's moving on to other parts on the outside. My mother says I'm a curious kid. There's a curious, wondering how things work. She calls me a natural spy. Sometimes I look so closely, I can see the lines on a shiny green leaf. So here she's curious about, what's that on the tree? What, these leaves look different. You really pay close attention to the leaves outside, whether it's on the tree or on the bush or on the ground. We have different shape and color leaves. Some of them look like this one here. You have some that look more like ovals. Some look more circular. Some kind of look like they have 3 points instead of all of these that are here. And then she says she takes a closer look that sometimes she can see the line. So that's another thing that you can investigate and discover. That the closer you get into something like we did with the flower, you're able to get a better look as to the other things that appear on objects. So see, you can see all the lines there and the vines and everything. Or like the veins, I should say, like the veins in your skin. Because when you take a closer look here to your skin, when it's far away, you can't really see it. But when you bring your hand and your arm closer to you, you're able to see that there's some lines going there. Some are darker than others. But like, for example, here I'm able to see some green and some blue. And that's where my blood is able to travel through my body to keep me nice and healthy. So that's another way that you can investigate too. Okay, so she investigated the lines in the green leaf. Now she's moving on. Or one small acorn on a branch. Or seeds in a pot. I wonder if there's an animal that likes to eat those acorns. What do you think? Or maybe not eat them, maybe just collect them. Or maybe you can collect some acorns. You want to discover more about it, so you investigate further, collect some acorns, and maybe you can make a pattern out of it. Now here are the seeds of a pod. So pod is kind of like, it's kind of like a pouch or a bag where smaller things are kept. So like say for example, if mom or auntie or sister, or maybe even you are carrying a bag or a purse, you have something small in there. It could be money, it could be lipstick, maybe something to write with like a pen, some paper, a phone. So you carry smaller things and something bigger. That way you're less likely to use them and you keep them all together. So that's what a pod is in this case. It's keeping all those little seeds together. I noticed the feathers of a bird. So here we have a dove just quietly laying there. What could it be doing? If the girl comes on over very, very loud, what will the bird do? And then if the girl comes very, very quiet to investigate the bird as carefully as she can, how will the bird react? Will it be different than when you do it loud, or the same? And then when she was investigating, see the feathers there? You can see kind of some lines there too, the different colors. You kind of see there that part there of the feather. Some dark, some light. So you can see the feathers of a bird, or the golden eye of a frog. So she came and investigated closer and closer. And look at that. If you see the frog from all the way over here like this, can't really see that golden eye. You can see the gold flower, but not the golden eye. But then she investigated. She got a little closer. Carefully, though. You don't know how the frog is going to react. Then you can see golden circle there. I like the iris there of the eye of a frog. When you look closely, things look different. Like the bark of a tree, or an empty hornet's nest, the seeds of a sunflower, or even a rock. Now, I'm not going to tell you which ones are which. I'm going to kind of mix it here. And you can tell, whoever's watching the video with you, which one do you think it is. So which one you think these are? Remember, she said the bark of a tree, a rock, an empty wasp nest, and then sunflower seeds. So which one do you think it is? I'm going to leave it here so you can let whoever's watching the video know what you think. Or maybe you just want to point at the video themselves. No one has to be there with you. Okay, so rock, empty hive's nest, sunflower seed, and bark of a tree. Think you got it? All right, I'm going to move on. Sometimes there's a pattern, or there's our word. It did appear here, pattern. Like ice on a frozen pond, or a spider's web, or a butterfly's nest. Now, I'm not going to show you the frozen pond here because it's kind of hard to see. It's very light. But I can show you the spider web and the butterfly's wing. So here's a spider web. If you've ever discovered a spider web outside and then wanted to investigate further, you got close enough to see, you can see the different designs that they make. They're very great architects, which means that they create places to live. And then here we go. The designs are on a butterfly's wing. You can see all the different patterns there of colors, of shapes. Everything has its own shape, color, and size. Kind of like we do, huh? We come in our own color, shapes, and sizes too. So here, she is wrapping her arms around a gigantic pumpkin. Huge. or big or enormous. So many different words that mean the same thing. Now, how big or how round, maybe that's a better word, do you think that pumpkin is? She's able to wrap her arms around there. How much do you think it is? Or how much does it weigh? It's a pretty big pumpkin. If you were to weigh it, how much would it weigh? Would it weigh more than you or less? Something to think about. Maybe to investigate later. Look closely at a turtle's shell. So here's the turtle here. You can kind of see from there there's some lines. So I'm going to bring you the closer image right here. You can see all the different lines. Now, if you were just to see this, doesn't really look like a turtle, does it? Kind of like when you have a magnifying glass. It's just like you focus on just one particular part and then you can move on to the next. So there's the turtle shell. Keeps it nice and safe. Now, turtles usually do have a place to live, but their shell is also like their house. Kind of like a mobile home or an RV. Some of you might live or have seen some of those where you're able to move or transport yourself and your family inside of the house because there's wheels. Now the turtle shell doesn't have wheels, but it is on the turtle, and the turtle is able to move. No matter where you look, it could be up, down, or all around. So there we go. She looks up. You can see up towards the sky or up towards this very big tree. If you look down, you can see the grass and leaves in her shoes. Or all around. There's always something to see when you're a nature spy. She looks very, very proud of yourself. Now, this is my main homework for you. Besides trying to use these words throughout the day, I want you to try to be a nature spy or a nature investigator. Now again, you have to check with your family to see if you can go outside. We want to make sure everyone is safe. And if you can't, you can be an indoor spy and investigator. Maybe you can figure more out about your house or your room or your kitchen or your bathroom. It doesn't have to be outside. Wherever you can find something that you're curious about, you wonder, you want to discover more, figure out more about what it is or why it's there or how it got there, then you investigate as to how that happened. And then maybe you can figure out some patterns. So then you can tell your family what is it that you found. You can send me a video or a picture. And you can also draw out the things that you investigate. And then remember, when you get a closer look, you can see things from a different perspective. So you're able to see things a little bit differently. Whether that's you can see the lines or the patterns, see what it's made out of, if it's something that's strong and sturdy or something that's a little bit weak or fragile. So yeah, that's something I want you to try. Either a nature spy / investigator or a home spy / investigator. Whichever one of those you can do, you can get back to me. I hope you enjoyed the story, and we'll see you soon. All right, bye.